Should a guy get over this easier? Long post warning. Sorry about that. For context, I'm 31, and he's 35. We've been together for almost 3 years, married just over 6 months, and we have a 10-month-old. We've had some issues in our relationship, but most of our fights have been about minor things that we usually resolve quickly. Since having the baby, some arguments last longer, and our intimate life has changed or slowed down. Before the baby, we were intimate regularly, and even when we weren't having sex, we still cuddled, kissed, held hands, etc. Often, the shift has led to more arguments because I've been upset about the lack of intimacy and wondered about the cause. I've been told that our fights are part of the issue, understandable, but I also believe the longer we let coldness linger after fights, the harder it becomes to maintain a strong relationship. He disagrees, which is fine. We found out we're expecting baby number 2, which wasn't planned. He's excited, but I'm nervous, especially since finances have been an issue this past year. Still, I allowed myself to feel excited too. Earlier this month, I got a gut feeling and checked his phone. He knows I've experienced trauma in the past and that I sometimes do this. It's been a long time since I last looked. I saw he had visited an OnlyFans page, a subscription page for a specific girl. He hadn't paid for anything, but I confronted him. At first, he denied having an account and claimed he didn't know why it appeared in his history. Then I told him I had logged into his account and saw that he indeed had one. He had favorited one girl but wasn't following or paying for anyone. When I asked how he ended up on her page, he said he didn't remember but assured me he'd never pay for something like that. I asked if he backed out because he'd have to pay or because he knew how I felt about OnlyFans. He said he knew it was wrong, and that's why he stopped. But how could he not remember what led him there when it happened just 8 days earlier? He apologized, but didn't have an explanation. 2 days later, I felt uneasy again and checked his Instagram reels. Nearly every video was of barely dressed young women, some showing inappropriate content. Most of them looked extremely young, like 18 at most, and one even looked underage. The OnlyFans page he visited belonged to a cosplay creator who looked quite young too. His Instagram Explore page, however, was filled with Pokemon and anime content, which confused me. He said he watches reels through the Explore page, not from his feed, and couldn't explain why all the videos were like that. It was disturbing to see that every reel was along those lines, no matter how many I marked as not interested. I decided to try working things out with him because we have a child and another on the way, and we used to be so good together. But lately, I've been questioning if I'm making a mistake. It feels like he has to be seeking out that type of content, whether on Instagram or OnlyFans. The incident tonight was what brought me here. We were hanging out, and I asked what he wanted to do. He said, "You?" in a playful way. I laughed and asked again, but he repeated, "I mean it. I want you," while grabbing my upper thigh's hips. Later, he went to the store. When he came back, he started falling asleep. This hurt my feelings because I thought he'd initiated something intimate earlier. When he woke up, he noticed I was upset and asked what was wrong. I didn't want to talk about it, but he guessed the reason. His response was dismissive. "What did I say to make you think I wanted to have sex with you?" In a tone that felt rude and condescending. I explained what he'd said and why I thought he wanted to, but he replied, "We've been having sex every night." We had been intimate twice this week after starting to rebuild our relationship post-OnlyFans. He then claimed his earlier comment and actions weren't sexual and that he just meant he wanted me as a person. He added that sometimes he does mean it sexually, but I should somehow know the difference. Am I overreacting by feeling like he's playing immature games? He used to treat me so differently, to the point where people said he worshipped me. Now he tells me things naturally change when you have kids and a long-term relationship, and it's normal for affection to decrease. But it's been less than 3 years. Thanks for listening. I really needed to vent.